From pretty much first few days in the old shop, it became pretty clear that we would have to find a new place for the workshop pretty soon. At first, we would find the ways to work around the small space, but once I started to get some bigger projects and my shopmates started to get some more work done, the move became pretty inevitable. The search for the new space began about a year ago, and we've looked up about a dozen of places, but all of them just didn't work. Either the space was too small, or it was too big, or required too much investment, until we stumbled this old hangar. It was perfect from pretty much every perspective, but it required a hell of work. The whole area of 500 square meters was completely filled up with old racking made from some Soviet steel and old wood, so before we even begin to work on the space, we would have to clean up all of the steel rackings. Luckily, we found some people who helped us do it, and all of the scrap wood that left from the demolition we could later use in the winter to heat up our shop. So to turn this whole hangar into something that could be called a Puff's Workshop number 4, I've had to split the work onto 5 main points. And the very first one, and the most physically demanding, was the wall. The plan is to put up the wall like here and somehow here, and I'm going to have 150 square meters of space. So much stuff to figure out, and I feel very lost. I don't know where to start. Yeah, still a bunch of wood left behind, but I think I can utilize most of that wood to build a wall to separate my shop from Roma's shop. They're making a lot of furniture, so it's going to be always noisy with CNCs and stuff. Now, even the simplest tasks like sweeping up the floors becomes quite a challenge when you have 150 square meters.
It's really freaking dusty.
I was not sure if my idea with the scrap wood to make the wall would work, because when I put the first few sections up, it definitely felt a little bit flimsy.
I think it could work.
But once I got it attached to the floor and to the ceiling, it actually became quite strong. And it was about this point when I first required some assistance, and of course Arthur is always coming to save the day. I've also put some salvaged OSB boards at the bottom so I can attach stuff easier to the wall once it's all done. Meanwhile, I've also cleaned up that section above the window, removed the old insulation and put some new insulation in. I think it was at this point when I started to think that I've got myself into some big trouble with this crazy amount of work that was supposed to be done. A few days later, I got the first material delivery to the shop, and it was 100 and something boards of the drywall, which scared me even more. But little by little, we got the first wall done. Of course, the wall required some insulation, otherwise it would just sound like a drum. This section of the wall was a little bit easier, but just a little bit. Right about here, I started to see my space shaping up, and I finally started to get a sense of how much space I would actually have now. Unfortunately, we ran out from all of the good scrap wood, so we had to buy some steel to complete that section of the wall. The boys behind the wall were also demolishing some of the old structures, and we reused the insulation from that structures to fill up that last section of the wall. It was a tough challenge. The walls are 6 meters high. So now, when the wall was standing still, I faced another big problem. The hangar only had one entrance and only one gate, and it was so far away from my space that there was no way to work around it. So I had to have my own gate.
I think you might need my help with that. We do really need our own gate because we often gonna have deliveries and stuff like that. So our plan is to have the gate here. So we're going to remove 2 sections of the windows, this one, and move that middle section to the very left. and we're gonna have enough space for the gate here. Then we will have to prepare the opening for the gates. Yeah, quite a mission for today.
The first part of the task was quite easy. We removed the windows with no problems and moved the middle one to the side. Next up, I had to remove the section of the wall, which was not that easy, and I had to make a little dust. I was busy the whole morning, and Arthur was here working on a wall with a sledgehammer, and let's see how far he went. It turned out that wall was made from some crazy Soviet blocks and some crazy concrete, and this was the toughest wall that I've ever demolished. It was pretty much impossible to break with a sledgehammer, but give this man a power hammer and leave him for a full day, he can get any wall demolished. Once that section of the wall was removed, we had to prepare a frame to which the gate is going to be attached later. I'm gonna order the gate and it should be here in about 2-3 weeks time, and while we wait for it, I've also hired some people to clean up the ceiling from that old insulation. The things are happening. I have my old airless. I don't know, I haven't used it in many years. I'm not sure if it's going to work today or of course it will. It was the most satisfying work ever, just painting walls like this with an airless. I've painted the whole shop in the matter of 3-4 hours. Now, this next point was probably the easiest one to do on my list, and it is lighting. This is going to be the first time since my very first workshop that I'm going to have a natural lighting, which is such a game changer. But before any of the lights could be installed, we had to insulate the ceiling. I reckon it's going to be kinda hard to heat up such a huge shop, and keeping the warm as long as possible inside of the shop is a #1 priority right now. Meanwhile, the work on the ceiling was happening. I could install the very first bench. There we go. The first bench, and now I can kind of work my way around it. This is the centerpiece of the workshop, I think. I'm gonna set up my tools around this bench. This window is just giving such a nice natural light exactly on my bench. Finally, I have the window in the workshop. Yes. I've been installing the new lights for the past 2.5 hours, and I'm gonna go now, hit the switch and see the first not temporary lights in action. All of the time while we were working on a Puffs workshop #4, the Puffs workshop #3 was still operational. And since I finally had some space available in the hangar, I could start bringing the stuff into it. It's taking so much more time than I expected. It's just taking all of my headspace, all of my energy. Once it's all going to be done, it's going to be a nice space. I'm excited. Quick update on the progress so far. Still waiting on a gate. It's been 3 weeks, I think. And it's really cold outside. And yes, that wall is giving in a lot of the cold. And that wall, as you can see, is being made from everything that we could find. All of the leftovers just going to build this wall. In order to get this place operating, and I would say that about 50% of my work now is with metal, I really had to set up a proper welding station. That would include a somewhat empty area for the welding table, ventilation, and some racking to keep my steel organized. It was a simple step, but it meant that I could finally bring over the operations from Puffs workshop #3 into Puffs workshop number 4, which meant I had to say goodbye to an old friend.
As you can see, still no gate. This is freaking crazy. It turns out the guy from whom I've ordered the gate, he's actually a scammer, and I've paid him almost 3,000 euros. Now I'm trying to get my money back, and it's all really complicated. I found some new people who are great guys, and I hope they can do the gate in 3 weeks, which they promised me. But yeah, it's freaking a little bit insane. We had a plumber coming last week to put up nice pipes, and I've had a radiator over there, and I've got a little fan coil over there that's going to heat up the whole shop. And yeah, we spent some crazy amount of money on some new boiler that's going to boil the water for the fan coil and for our radiators. It's still not working. We still need some parts to get it all working, and it's been so long. We don't have heating, we don't have the gate. Dude, it's been hoping to finish most of that work next week and get some video published for you guys. It's been a really long time since I've been filming this. All of this work is going to be so worth it with a space like this, when we have all of our equipment available, a lot of space. And in the summer we're gonna have some greenery. Hopefully by the summer we're gonna have the gate.
Some, God knows how many weeks later.
-5 outside. It is nice and warm in the workshop. Really cozy. Yeah, it was one of my biggest concerns that it's going to be cold in the shop, but it's super nice. And the boiler is doing a great job. Right now we just put firewood inside a few times a day, and yeah, it heats up a huge hangar. The workshop is filled with projects. I want to make some resolutions for the new year. Would be nice to finally start managing my time a little bit better. I'm really bad at this, but I'm gonna figure it out, I hope. And I'm gonna wish you all guys a happy new year. And as I said, the gate, yeah, once it's here, it's going to be a good point to finish this video. So if you're watching it, the gate is already standing.
Number 5, and it is the loft. No Puff's workshop ever happened without the loft. And I think the truth is that I just really like to build those. From my experience, the biggest disadvantage of using the loft as a storage is bringing stuff up and down using the flimsy stairs. So I've decided to install a little winch to help me with that problem.
We could obviously do everything, lift stuff up without a winch, but it's just way too much fun.
My new CNC router fits below the loft just perfectly.
This is my design of the staircase that I'm going to build.
As you could have noticed, I'm trying to reuse as much material as possible. Even the metal for the stairs and most of the metal for the hand railing I've reused from my old workshop.
Look at this freaking stair set. I'm gonna try it. Yeah, this is the first time. Hopefully it's not going to collapse under me. Dude, this is the nicest piece of staircase I've ever made. The angle is so perfect. At first I thought I definitely overkilled it with the angle, but it's so good. It's really comfy. Yes! Yeah, now really the handrail, like here, yeah, it's really needed. So I'm gonna make a handrail.
And just when I was working on the handrail, I've got a call from the new garage door guys. Actually, kind of hard to believe that I finally have the gate. I don't even know for how long I've been waiting for this, and it seems like it's never going to happen, but today the guys came 2-3 hours and it's in place.
Dude, I can bring my welding table, which is here. I can bring it outside during the summer and just weld outside with the gate open. It's going to be such a game changer.
But the best part of it is this little button. The new gate also meant that I can finally bring my car into the workshop and fulfill my long-time dream to work on a car inside of my workshop.
I feel like I can fit like 2 or 3 more cars here. This easily fits. I couldn't imagine bringing my car into my old shop. This is sick.
Now, after my motivation to finish up this project was restored, I could get back to work and finish up the last piece of that puzzle.
I think it's now safe to say that I'm kind of done. We finally have the gate. We have the heating, we have most of the dirty work done, we have the CNC running, and pretty much this space is ready for some heavy work. The loft is also requiring some work, but already this is all very functional. Super happy. I think with the budget I had, I couldn't do any better than this. This is really freaking good base. Man, what I'm gonna do with all this space.
I officially declare this space a Puff's Workshop number 4.